It is often believed that the work of a good editor goes unnoticed. An editor has succeeded at their job when the cuts are invisible and the shots flow seamlessly from one to the other. However, the mark of a great editor is the ability to create emotion and meaning from the edit. This task has become easier as film has moved from celluloid to digital, editors no longer having to spend days in the cutting room, manually splicing and sticking reels of film together. Now, in the digital age, editors have access to software that has new conveniences as well as opportunities. The choices an editor makes greatly affect the way in which a scene is perceived, and can change the meaning of the scene entirely. An example of a great modern editor would be Dylan Tichenor, known most famously for his work on films such as There Will Be Blood, Zero Dark 30, and Brokeback Mountain. I will be focusing on three that I believe act as great examples of his work: Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and Wes Anderson's The Royal Tenenbaums. Montage editing is used in Tichenor's first major editing role on Boogie Nights at the end of the first act. Montages are used to show the passage of time and the rise of protagonist, Dirk Diggler. This sequence makes use of split screens to show multiple shots at once, each screen being motivated into frame by the movement of the article. This is not only visually striking, but also confirms Dirk as the protagonist, and presents him as the star he believes himself to be. Tichenor also uses montage-style editing in the 7-minute post-title sequence of Magnolia. The purpose of this sequence is to introduce each character and give us some description of who they are, and Tichenor achieves this economically by quickly cutting between the actions going on in each character's life before cutting straight to the next introduction. This sequence also shows Tichenor's ability to create foreshadowing with the edit by using the overlapping of sound and image. A shot of Claudia having sex cuts to her father, Jimmy, on TV while her gasps can still be heard.
And answered questions with Jimmy Gator, an American legend and a true television icon.
Tichenor then cuts to a shot of Jimmy having sex with his wife, while the TV audio talks about his children.
He's a family man who's been married for over 40 years, with 2 children and 1 bouncing baby grandchild on the way.
Foreshadowing the later revelation that Jimmy abused Claudia. Montage is also used in The Royal Tenenbaums, when Richie attempts to take his own life. As Richie cuts himself, we are shown a brief montage of loved memories, his bird Mordecai, his mother, and multiple shots of his true love, his adopted sister, Margot. The choice of shots emotionally grounds the scene and allows the audience to empathise with Richie and know why he is doing this. Tichenor has also used filters and aspect ratio to give certain shots meaning. For instance, during the first porn shoot of Boogie Nights, the master shot is shown in 4:3 ratio and there is a grainy filter over the shot. This brings us into the scene and immerses us in the world, grounding the context of the scene as a 70s porn shoot and forcing us to watch the scene as if through the camera. Similarly, Magnolia opens with a story of 3 men hanged in 1911 for murder. The scene is in grainy black and white, and once again in 4:3 ratio, connoting the past, especially in contrast to the rest of the film, while also acting as a stylistic choice. Tichenor is also able to edit conversations in a way that conveys emotion and sways the audience's perspective. For instance, when Jack visits the Colonel after he's just been arrested in Boogie Nights, the scene begins with most of the focus on the Colonel as he tries to explain himself. However, after he has confessed to the possession of child pornography, Tichenor shifts the focus to Jack and his reactions to this information. Similarly, Tichenor cuts between Royal and Henry during their argument in the Royal Tenenbaums, switching focus to whoever is talking at the time. However, once the 2 characters start shouting over each other, Tichenor cuts to a shot from behind Henry and stays there until the argument dies. This allows Tichenor to avoid the task of cutting between 2 characters talking over each other while also putting us on the side of Henry and presenting Royal as the aggressor. Tichenor has a clear eye and rhythm for editing, being able to smoothly edit shots together and create meaning, keeping the audience hooked. He is able to efficiently and effectively present the narrative of the film, whilst adding additional meaning and storytelling through the edit, the mark of a great editor.